Well, good morning, everyone. Let me first of all just thank you for being here with us today. Honored to be joined by our great First Lady, Marty Kemp, strong supporter, as you know, of our men and women in law enforcement. Also proud to be standing with the heads of both state and local law enforcement agencies, all of whom have been valued partners in this ongoing efforts to make every community in our state a safe place to call home. They include Colonel Wright of the Georgia State Patrol, Director Reynolds of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Director, I want to congratulate you and the department and the gang strike force on a major drug bust in Gwinnett County recently. Commissioner Williams and Colonel Bernard of the Department of Natural Resources, James Bergman, Director of Special Operations for the Department of Community Supervision, Chief Bryan of the Atlanta Police Department, and Sheriff Labatt of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. I'll also want to note the leadership in the General Assembly, certainly Lieutenant Governor Duncan, Speaker Ralston. I know we got several members of the General Assembly who are here with us today that have been supporting all the efforts of those behind us. But I especially want to recognize and thank the men and women in uniform who surround us here today, representing law enforcement across different levels and agencies. These brave officers are on the front lines in the fight against criminals and street gangs. They face danger on a regular basis and go above and beyond to keep their fellow Georgians safe. They have more than earned our deep appreciation, and they continue to make Georgia proud every day. So please join me in thanking them for their great work and service. Thank you all. In the very first article of our state constitution are these words: protection to person and property is the paramount duty of government and shall be impartial and complete. In other words, public safety is the #1 responsibility of government. The rise in crime that we've been facing in many communities across Georgia is unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable to the law enforcement organizations represented here today, and it's certainly unacceptable to the people that we serve. That's why roughly a year ago, I called for the creation of the multi-agency Crime Suppression Unit that would combine the efforts and capabilities of both those on the state and local levels, acting as a force multiplier to bring the fight to the criminals. And as I've said, shortly after this unit began this good fight, we will use every resource at our disposal to rid our communities of crime and keep Georgia families safe. Some of those resources are on display here this morning, so you can see firsthand what we're putting into this fight. And this represents just a fraction of the $5 million in emergency funds and resources I directed to the crime suppression operation since the unit's inception. Today, I'm proud to report impressive updated numbers as a result of those resources, but especially as a result of the dedication and skill of the men and women who courageously go out during each wave of a crime suppression operation to combat the dangers that are on our streets. Since April of 2021, those men and women have been responsible for the following in the metro Atlanta area alone: over 23,600 vehicle stops, 588 DUI stops, 213 drug arrests, 572 pursuits, almost 1,300 vehicles impounded, almost 16,000 citations rendered, 451 wanted persons arrested, of which 26 were murder suspects, 342 stolen or missing weapons secured, and 312 stolen vehicles recovered with a running value of almost $6.5 million. And there are other operations taking place outside the metro Atlanta area, including Columbus and Macon. A full list of these growing accomplishments will be made public today. And I want to emphasize that just because we're year in does not mean the end of these efforts. This is only an update. These resources will continue to patrol our streets and communities in support of our hard-working law enforcement officers who will continue to fight the good fight. And as they do so, we expect the judiciary to fulfill its responsibility and sentence offenders appropriately so they don't end up right back on the streets. A revolving door of justice is no justice, and it must end. I'm encouraged by yesterday's announcement, which includes the Atlanta Police Department and the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, that they're creating a repeat offender tracking unit. With that, I'm happy to turn it over to the man who has done an outstanding job leading this unit over the last year, as well as our State Department of Public Safety, Colonel Chris Wright of the Georgia State Patrol. Colonel.
Good morning. First and foremost, I want to publicly thank the members of the Department of Public Safety who have embraced and worked so hard on this mission to reduce crime in Atlanta. I also want to thank our partners, the Department of Natural Resources, the Department of Community Supervision, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the Atlanta Police Department, Fulton Sheriff's Office, and so many of the other surrounding metro agencies. Just as an example of our effective cooperation, we located a kidnapped victim in a grocery store and subsequently arrested the assailant. Together, we have arrested 9 major street racing organizers in the metro area. We are stronger together, and the results have helped make our capital city much safer. Secondly, I want to thank Governor Kemp for his leadership on this mission. It was Governor Kemp who saw citizens' lives in danger and their livelihoods at risk due to the reckless and criminal behavior that was plaguing the city of Atlanta. It was his vision to begin the crime suppression operations to help combat crime, and it was his vision to create a full-time crime suppression unit. So, Governor, we appreciate you and the First Lady's support of our profession and your commitment to keeping Georgians safe. Thank you. As you heard from Governor Kemp, the stats reflect a tremendous amount of hard work and dedication. Without a doubt, the amount of wanted fugitives, murder suspects, guns, and stolen vehicles that have been removed from the streets of Metro Atlanta have made a positive impact. Proactive policing and high visibility patrols result in crime reduction and improve the quality of life for our citizens. We share the governor's vision of reducing crime and making Georgia's communities safer. Policing is more dangerous than ever, and a fewer amount of people are accepting the challenge to keep our roads, communities, and cities safe. The work they are doing is honorable, it's meaningful, and it's important. When you see a law enforcement officer, thank them for their courage and commitment to continue to serve the communities in our state. Thank you. And now I'd like to turn it over to Director Vic Reynolds with the GBI.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Vic Reynolds. I'm the Director of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Let me just take a moment to thank you for this time. I'll be very brief. I also want to echo Colonel Wright's statements a moment ago. Thank this governor for his vision in this area. I want to thank Colonel Wright as well for his leadership. I also want to take a moment to thank our state and local partners. We appreciate, on behalf of the Bureau, being a part of this operation, and we thank them for standing shoulder to shoulder with us day in and day out. The GBI's involvement in this was a dual purpose involvement. We serve both a real-time investigative and analytical support role. We had actual agents, boots on the grounds, working undercover during these operations, providing information back to our GSAC Center, that's our Intelligence Sharing and Analysis Center, where our intelligence analysts would vet that information, then disseminate it back out to the boots on the ground folks working the details to make sure they had real-time intelligence and information in order to operate from. We continue to have an analyst on call at all times to provide intelligence information requests made by the members of the detail, and to work collaboratively with those individuals, both from our state and local partners. I will tell you unequivocally, in over 35 years of working in this area, both as a police officer, a prosecutor, a judge, an elected DA, and now as a director of the Bureau, I've never seen an operation work more seamlessly than this one. It is the best example that I believe I've seen in all those years of what can happen when we work together. As most of you know, unequivocally, bad actors don't pay attention to city limits. They don't pay attention to county lines. In order for us to combat that, we have to have a strong network, and this is a great example of that. So again, on behalf of the GBI, I want to thank my partners behind me, particularly Colonel Wright, the DNR folks, Atlanta PD, DCS, the Sheriff's Department here in Fulton, for allowing the Bureau to be a small part of this operation, to stand shoulder to shoulder with them, and we will continue to do that day in and day out. So again, thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Williams. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. I'm Mark Williams, Commissioner of the Department of Natural Resources, and I want to thank Governor Brian Kemp and First Lady Marty Kemp for their unwavering strength during these trying times. They have exhibited tireless servant-style leadership every day, which is precisely what our state needs. Governor Kemp saw the need for additional law enforcement personnel in Atlanta and other communities to get the crime epidemic under control and protect Georgians, and he acted on it, and I thank him for that as well. Our game wardens, who specialize in law enforcement off the pavement, so some of you may think of them as out of place when you see them in the heart of Atlanta, but you'd be wrong. Over the last year, Colonel Bernard, who's with me today, and his team have deployed 189 game wardens from across the state to the Crime Suppression Detail while continuing to fulfill their core mission. In addition to the men and women of our law enforcement division, we have deployed aviation units, K-9 units, and special operations groups. All-terrain vehicles, four-wheelers, used by our game wardens has greatly improved mobility in the urban environment, accessing areas unreachable by patrol vehicles and acting as a deterrent to those who consider fleeing when approached. The professionalism of our men and women, along with their unique equipment and skill sets, make us the most versatile peace officers in the state. I would like to personally thank each law enforcement member of the Department of Natural Resources Law Enforcement Division and our governor for their dedication to this truly worthy cause, which DNR is fully committed to seeing through to the end. Thank you, and I'll turn it over to James Bergman, Department of Community Supervision.
Good morning. I'm here today on behalf of Commissioner Michael Nail and the dedicated men and women of the Department of Community Supervision. I'd also like to recognize Director of Field Operations Patrick Holsey, who's in attendance also this morning. It's an honor to stand beside Governor Kemp and our fellow partners in law enforcement in this important occasion. While our mission is to ensure that everyone under DCS supervision has the resources and the support they need to succeed, we understand that unfortunately, not every person will take advantage of those opportunities. That's why the work of this Crime Suppression Unit is so vital, and DCS is proud to share in the success of these efforts. DCS holds a unique position within the law enforcement community and is therefore well suited to provide assistance to our law enforcement partners. Our officers are on the ground every day making meaningful contacts that provide valuable intelligence on individuals who have chosen to cast aside the desire to be productive members of society in favor of a desire to wreak havoc within their communities. Because our officers are fully immersed in the communities they serve, their effective supervision and information gathering gives us access to intelligence that allows us to support the ongoing work of our partners. In working with the Crime Suppression Unit, DCS has been able to leverage our technological platform and our database of thousands of validated gang members and others on probation and parole throughout the metro area. The partnerships, teamwork, and information sharing that DCS participates in have proven critical in removing from the community those who want to seek to endanger our citizens. These dedicated men and women have apprehended dangerous individuals who have absconded from supervision. They've seized firearms, confiscated drugs, and worked alongside our partners to assist in numerous operations designed to combat gangs and keep our communities safe. I appreciate their devotion to service and thank them for their commitment. We appreciate the leadership of Governor Kemp on this issue, and we will continue to do our part to dismantle and interrupt criminal activity within our communities. The people of Georgia deserve solutions to the issues of gangs and violent crime, and we are committed to working shoulder to shoulder with our partners to deliver results that protect our communities. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Bryant.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. Good morning. On behalf of Mayor Andre Dickens and the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department, our Governor, First Lady, our other law enforcement agency leadership partners, and the Sheriff's Office, we want to thank you all for this significant collaboration that we have, showing the people of Atlanta and the people throughout this state that this type of alignment shows that we are being very strategic as it relates to crime fighting in this area. As we rolled out an initiative yesterday, this shows just how impactful when you have people laser focused on addressing an issue, that we can resolve any issues beyond party lines. Crime fighting and the public safety, as the governor stated, is our #1 responsibility. And it has shown as we come into this year with our crime numbers in the city of Atlanta on a downward trend. And we recognize that the City of Atlanta Police Department could not have done it alone. Clearly, we rely on our partners throughout the region. There's at no time that I cannot call the Sheriff's Office, our partners over at the state, and get an immediate response to an issue within this area. And so I want to thank them for their partnerships, the governor's leadership, because it clearly is showing a difference. It shows that in the state of Georgia, in the city of Atlanta, we are very serious about crime and the safety of the citizens in this area. And we'll continue to forge forward and continuing to fight the issues we are seeing around crime. And with that being said, I'll turn it over to Sheriff Labat.
Good morning. First, let me start and stop in the same place, and that's by saying thank you to each of you all that are here, making sure this message gets out. Repeatedly, you've heard about leadership, and one of the things that coming into office I was able to do is to reach out not just to Chief Bryant, but to the governor, right? Who does that in a space that requires that kind of immediate attention? And for the governor to invite us into the conversation in a space that traditionally as a sheriff's office we had not been as forthcoming, well, it simply inspired us. And then a few days ago I had the honor of honoring our First Lady and the work that she has done around human trafficking, again, a family that is supporting law enforcement. So for us, it is the collaboration that works. But as we talk all the time, leadership matters. And so for me to be able to pick up the phone and call Colonel Wright at the drop of a dime and the resources that are be able to put in place to create this force multiplier only comes from having a governor with vision. And so I personally want to take an opportunity to thank not just the governor, not just the partners, but the women and men in law enforcement that you see, really the boots on the ground that make sure day in and day out that we are safe in our community. We talk all the time and we say that criminals don't understand the city limits or the municipality limits. And so with that in mind, being a Fulton County Sheriff has really been the honor of my life, but having the partnerships in place that we can build better communities because of it is an even greater honor. So I'll take a quick second. I know our commander, Major Butler, for our Crime Suppression Unit is here with us as well. So again, thank him and his team for really stepping in less than a year and having a major impact. But we absolutely could not do that without the women and men leading these agencies and the boots on the ground to get it done. So again, thank you, and thank you, Governor. I appreciate it, Sheriff.
Well, thank you so much, Sheriff. We appreciate you and the Major and all the men and women of the Fulton County Sheriff's Department for what they're doing to be partners in these efforts. I want to personally thank Chief Bryant and his team. We've had such a great relationship, especially over these last couple of years and certainly last year with the Crime Suppression Unit. I appreciate the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department and them being in the fight with us. And just again want to thank our state team, which you can see is significant. Like I told Colonel Wright when I asked him to put this together, I said use any state resource that you need. And you can see that we have done that. We will continue to do that, and we appreciate all the local partners throughout the metro Atlanta area, but also in other parts of the state, like Macon and Columbus, that are also partnering with us. So I just want to thank you all again for what you're doing to make Georgia safer, to take criminals off our streets, and to fulfill the paramount duty of government. We're going to keep chopping, we're going to keep up the good work, and we're going to go even harder to take the fight to street gangs and criminals in the months ahead, as long as it takes. And as we do so, I would ask everyone here and all across our great state to continue to pray for the safety of these men and women that are on our streets every single day, those that are here and those that are not. And law enforcement on all levels, no matter what uniform or badge they wear. We should also remember their families who have given and risked so much for their communities in our daily prayers. May God protect them while they work to keep us safe, and may He protect and bless this great state that we are honored to live, work, and raise our families in. Thank you all for being with us today.